Hello, Central Texas and the world. I am Patrick Purifoy, the broker of Blessed Properties and owner of BP School of Real Estate. Welcome to that real estate show where I am proud to be your host. That real estate show is dedicated entirely to enlightening you, the consumer, on real estate related matters and much more. Today's show is brought to you by BP School of Real Estate. BP School of Real Estate is your Central Texas source for real estate education, offering pre-licensing, continuing education, and salesperson annual training. BP School of Real Estate is located at 2210 East Central Texas Expressway, Suite 202, right here in Killeen, Texas. Visit us online at bpsore.com. That's bpsore.com. Today I want you guys to help me welcome to the show my co-host, Mr. Ken Biggers. Ken, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, sir. Doing wonderful. Well, almost, sir. I feel a void in my stomach. I'm a little hungry.
Well, that's nothing new. What's different? And also, I want to introduce to you guys the newest member of our team, Mr. Billy Bob Bridges. Billy, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent, and I do not have a void because I had some Popeye before I got here, so I'm good to go.
See the love.
Hey, I offered.
Hey, welcome to the show. I appreciate both of you guys being here.
Thank you, sir.
So what's going on, Ken? What's going on with you these days?
Well, I'm just busy taking care of clients, and I got to say this too.
Okay.
I woke up this morning.
You woke up this morning.
So I'm thankful for that. It's
Amen.
a blessing just to have breath in my body.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Billy, what's going on with you, man?
Oh, I'm blessed. God is moving in so many different ways, and just getting my name out there as a new realtor, and working with Blessed Properties, exciting for me and my family, and looking forward to working with you guys, and getting my name out there more, and just taking care of customers one at a time, and building up a good name for myself and for Blessed Properties.
Absolutely, absolutely, and brother, we're glad to have you, and that's as you guys can tell. Both of these guys are saved, and they don't mind letting the world know that they're saved, and that's what Blessed Properties is all about. And Billy, I appreciate you deciding to join us. I know there are many good real estate companies out there, many great real estate companies out there that you could have joined with, and you chose Blessed Properties. So, for that I say thank you, and I am truly honored to be chosen.
Amen. Amen. God brought me there, and I would be running away from God if I wouldn't follow in His direction, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's good.
Amen. So today we're going to talk to you about some things that we're really going to hit hard and heavy this Saturday. This Saturday, Blessed Properties is hosting a free first-time home buyer seminar. And even if you bought a home in the past and it's been a few years since you've done so, and you just want to refresh yourself on the home buying process, you guys are more than welcome to come. That's going to be this Saturday at 9:30 in the morning. The address is 2210 East Central Texas Expressway, Suite 101. That's in the Landmark building. If you know where Blessed Properties is, then you know the place. That's the location. First floor, Suite 101, just to the right as you come in. So yeah, first time home buyer seminar. We're going to teach you about the home buying process, and we're going to talk to you about a program that's available to you that offers down payment assistance, up to $7,500 down payment assistance and closing cost assistance. So without further ado, let's get into some things here. We're going to talk about fixtures and improvements, and I'm going to let Ken take this one.
Okay. Oh. Threw me a curveball on that one.
Did I?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
But that's okay. That's okay. We all understand
okay.
fixtures and improvement. I'll take this, Pat.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
But the main thing that we're focusing in here on fixture and improvement is what makes a permanent installed or a permanent fixture to a property, and it's permanently installed or built in. And the top three things here that we're looking at is will the property be damaged when it's removed?
Mm-hmm.
Number two is that is the item customized for the property, or is it just a standard item? And number three is, was the installation intended to be permanent or temporary? And if you install some high-end fixtures to a property, I was telling Pat the other day, and the basic thing is some people want to take these items out of here, out of their property when they sell it. And you got to be careful on that, because when you're looking at fixture, such as, let's use an example we talked about, Patrick. I think you just mentioned drapes and curtain rods.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of the ladies, they like their curtain rods, they like their drapes, they made them custom made, and they picked them out, and it's what made the house. And we understand that, but it just has to be specified on the contract that they are going to exclude those items whenever they're selling the property. As long as it's listed as an exclusion, they're good to go. But that's a conversation that needs to be taking place from the realtor aspect to the seller. You want to add anything on that?
Well, I mean, you know, one of the things that I do during my listing appointment is we actually cover that. You know, I asked them specifically, are there some items that you want to exclude? And I ask them more than once.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes for whatever
Well,
reason,
have you ever had an
something.
issue with that? That's what I want to know.
Have I ever had an issue with
Yeah.
that?
Did you learn
No.
the hard way, or you had it good to go?
I've never had an issue with that because,
Okay.
as I said, I cover it more than once.
Okay.
To make sure that it's understood.
And that's what I'm learning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have to go over things, but you know, communication is not
Definitely.
always 100%. Just like we're
Right.
talking right now.
Right.
I'm saying one thing, but people may be hearing something totally different.
That's true.
So
That's
you have
true.
to repeat it over and over again sometimes.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. So fixtures and improvements, that's huge. That's huge for the seller, and it's huge
It
for
is.
the buyer. And what sellers have to understand is that when a buyer walks through your house, that house is being advertised for sale. So of course, minus your furniture, everything else that they see, they think they're getting. Drapes,
Right.
curtain rods,
Correct.
ceiling fans,
Mhm.
sinks, and that sounds crazy, right?
It does.
We were talking about this last night, you and I, Billy. I don't remember the Richard Pryor movie. I don't remember the title of
I
the
should've
movie.
looked it up.
But he got a promotion to a new job, and he moved his family.
I remember.
You remember the movie?
Yes.
But we're gonna wait on Ken. He's gonna be thinking about it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So he finds a house that he wants to buy, and he goes and tours the house, and the seller is there with him walking through the house.
Mhm.
And everything that Richard Pryor points to, he's like, oh, that's nice, that's beautiful, that's gorgeous, I like that. And whatever it is, the seller, he jokingly says, ha ha, I'm taking that with me. The stairs, he was taking that with him. The pool, he was taking it with him. The chandelier, he was taking it with him. You know, and when they closed on the house and Richard Pryor and his family went back to the house, it was just a shell.
Yeah.
He took everything with him. So that is huge. Now let's talk about improvements and accessories.
Okay.
So some of the things in paragraph 2 of the contract, these are some things right here that that could be excluded. You know, you need to let your listing agent know that you want to exclude these things. Appliances, refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, valances, screens, shutters, awning. Get this, wall-to-wall carpeting, mirrors, ceiling fans, attic fans, mailboxes, television antennas, television mounts, plumbing, light fixtures, chandeliers, water softeners, kitchen equipment, garage door openers, shrubbery, landscaping. What?
Yeah, I can see that because I take a lot of pride, especially it's coming up March and spring. I take a lot of pride in my home, in my yard, in my trees that I planted and put some love in and got them to where they are today. So, I know how much a tree like that would cost to replace it going to a new property, especially if you go to these new properties, these new homes they're building. They give you a little, like maybe 1 or 2 trees,
Right.
and they're little trees.
Right.
It's going to take a few years before you get some shade out of those trees. And so I could see that. Another thing is that outdoor cooking equipment. A lot of those custom outdoor kitchens that they have, or
They're really nice.
grills or stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, sometimes they put it together themselves. They
Right.
did a Home Depot project,
Mhm.
and they put some love into it, and they want to take it down and take it with them.
Yeah.
And but you know, like you said, Pat, when they walk through the house, they're expecting to get everything that they see,
Right.
minus the furniture.
Right.
And sometimes they ask for the furniture too.
Sometimes
I bet.
they do.
Yeah,
You
they do.
guys probably
They
know
do.
that.
Can we
they-
make an offer in on that furniture as well?
Exactly,
Yeah,
because
and that
sometimes
happens.
people
It does.
buy the furniture that fits that
Right.
square footage or
Correct.
that room, you know, so that's important to talk about. I think that's the main thing. You
Right.
hit it, Ken. Hey, but the movie in 1988, Richard Pryor, called Moving. So
Moving.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
right on point.
Simple
Moving.
movie
How
title.
appropriate, right?
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Now, Billy Bob, since you said that you put a lot of love into
Yeah.
I tell you what, let me give you my address before we leave.
And,
I
forgot. I walked into that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
We're gonna compare. Now let Pat be the judge, but no,
No,
let me get a drive-by first
do
before we do put anything on the line here.
Now, Pat, I want to ask you now.
Yeah.
We're talking about improvements and things. You mentioned appliances.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I walk into a house and the sellers failed to mention on the advertisement
Mm-hmm.
that they were excluding the refrigerator,
Right.
and then they took the refrigerator anyway,
Mm-hmm.
are they allowed to do that?
No,
They're not.
they are not.
And why?
Because they did not inform their listing agent that this was an exclusion. So therefore, the listing agent could not advertise it in the MLS as an exclusion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play the devil's advocate. I know y'all out there listening is like, does he know what he's talking about? Yeah, I do. I just like to play the devil's advocate.
No, that's good. And then, like you said, though, you got to repeat it and write it down and put it in black and white for a lot of people, because they get so excited about what they're about to do, sell their house or buy a house, and they might miss or just hear what they want to hear.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
before we move on to
that?
the next topic here, real quick, Ken, are you on Periscope?
I am.
What's your Periscope handle? What's your Twitter handle?
You know, I just keep it simple. It's Ken Biggers.
Ken Biggers.
You can't. That's it.
At Ken Biggers.
At Ken Biggers.
All right. So, hey, check it out. At Ken Biggers on Periscope, on Twitter. Ken is periscoping live right now, the radio show, and we are on live streaming on YouTube as well. So, hey, might want to tune in there too. But the next topic that we're going to talk about right now are lender required repairs, and there's a difference between lender required repairs and there's a difference between buyer requested repairs. So, Ken, I'm gonna let you talk about that for me.
Okay, awesome. The buyer requested repairs, let's just hit that real quick.
Okay.
You know, and we always, without fail, recommend to our clients have a home inspection.
Yes, definitely.
Period.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to do it. Have a home inspection. And if they're just adamant and they don't want to do it, listen to me. Have them to write it down and sign
I got a
something
piece of paper
saying.
for you to sign saying
That's
you
it.
declined.
You declined.
You were informed and declined.
And
That's
decline,
right, that's
exactly.
right.
So anyway, once we've had that home inspection done, and then there are going to be a few items maybe that's identified. And so at this point, that's where, of course, our buyer is going to say, hey, I want to request these be repaired by the seller.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what we're talking about in terms of the buyer request repairs.
Mhm.
Now let's hit
Ken,
yes, sir,
before
go ahead.
before you move on,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why would a buyer, or a seller, not want to do an inspection? I mean, what is the reasoning?
From my experience, sometimes they don't want to spend the money.
So it's just a couple $100.
Couple $100.
They're trying to save that money for something.
We're talking
that could
about a
be
30-year
really,
investment.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Not
Fair
good.
enough. Not good. No. Not at
Yeah.
all.
So let's hit some of those lender required repairs. Now, my buyer's right to terminate, and this is just the scenario. My buyer's right to terminate the contract under paragraph 23 has expired, but his inspector found serious foundation problems and possible mold because of a prior roof leak. Can the buyer still terminate the contract after the option period because of these issues? Well, let's talk about paragraph 23. Paragraph 23 is your termination option. And of course, there are monies that are given to the seller basically to say, hey, I want to take X amount of days to do an inspection, because that's something that we do during that time frame.
Right.
And sometimes the buyer is actually muttering over in their mind, do I really want to move forward with this?
Right.
Yes, that's
So
true.
with this, you're given an option fee to the seller to say, hey, I want to do this. So during this time, and this is where we're talking about that option period has expired. So let's just put it into real world example. You have the appraisal that's done, and it's going to be done after you've done your home inspection.
Right.
It's going to be done more towards the end of the entire buying process.
Right.
So now once that happens, and let's say that, like we talked about, there was a leak that was identified in this example.
Mhm.
The buyer can terminate based upon that. And let's just read some of the examples from the legal facts from realtors. A buyer can terminate a contract after the option period has ended just because the inspector found problems. However, under paragraph 7E, if the buyer lender requires that these problems be repaired as a condition of making the loan, and the buyer and seller can't agree on who will pay for the repairs, then the contract will terminate. I want to pause right there. Now, sometimes, and I've seen this happen a couple of times. The seller says, "Well, I refuse to pay for it. I'm not paying anymore. I already paid for those repairs earlier. So why I got to pay for this repair?" Well, again, we talked about this is a lender required repair. So if you want to sell this house to this particular buyer, it has to be done. It's part of the loan approval process for the buyer.
Yeah.
Now moving on, the buyer will retain the earnest money. This is in the case that it does terminate. The buyer will retain the earnest money. In addition, paragraph 7E provides that if the cost of the lender required repairs exceed 5% of the sales price, I'm going to say that again. If the cost of lender required repairs exceed 5% of the sales price, then the buyer may terminate the contract, which means also they get their earnest money back.
Yes.
Okay, we understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Something you want to add to that, sir? I see your mind.
Yeah, the wheels are turning, and what a lot of sellers do not understand is just what Ken explained in the latter part of that, is that this is a lender required repair. This is kind of open for discussion, but not really. Not if you want to sell your home,
right? Because
the bank is not going to give this buyer money for a house that's in disrepair, if you will. So these are lender required repairs. See, when the inspection process happens in the option period, that buyer is paying for and hiring the home inspector to come out.
That's right. Home
inspector comes out and he will find some things wrong. 9 times out of 10, he will find some of the very same things, or the appraiser will find some of the very same thing that the home inspector finds. But it's kind of at a different level of negotiating. Now the buyer can go back to the seller and ask, "Hey, my home inspector found A through F on this home inspection here in the report. I would like you, Mr. and Miss Seller, to fix A through B." So, that's another negotiating point.
Right.
That's done within the option period. Now, if nobody agrees, then, like Ken said, the buyer can walk away. The seller will keep the buyer's option money, and the earnest money will be returned to the buyer.
Correct.
But then again, on the flip side, when the appraiser goes out there who is working for the bank, he's going out to ensure that this property is in great condition and it's a great investment for the bank, because that's what it is for the bank. It's an investment. So they want to make sure that they're starting out as close to 100% as possible condition-wise for that property. So you can't get mad at the buyer about the appraisal. The appraisal, it is what it is. We can have a discussion about the home inspection, but the appraisal, we cannot. We just simply cannot if you want to move forward.
Now, I just want to add one quick thing to that. On the appraisal report, it's actually broken down in, as you look at the appraisal, there's a section that's going to give you, I call it Charlie. I mean, we're all ex-military, so we recognize that language there, but we're talking about C, which means condition, condition ratings and definitions, and that actual rating goes from C1 to C6, and the same thing as far as quality ratings and definitions. They go from Q1 to Q6, and with these ratings, that is actually telling the lender or the bank that you're actually trying to get your mortgage from the status and the state of this particular property. So this is exactly like Pat was saying. The bank who's loaning you the money, say, Billy, they're loaning you the money, say it's $200,000 to buy the house. Well, it's the bank's investment.
Yeah.
So they got to make sure that they put in their money into a good investment.
Right.
Yes, I could see one of the problems like this in our area here in Central Texas is that my home was hit with that hail.
Right.
Our roofs and a lot of my neighbors as well. So they had to get inspected and utilize their insurance, their home insurance, to fix the roof completely.
Right.
And I know how sometimes things can get a little squirrely, and they get the money from the insurance, and somehow they didn't fix the roof. And I can see how that can happen in this area.
Right. More than you know.
Yes.
And that's something that we got to be watchful for when doing that home inspection, to make sure they check that roof, because that's going to be a big one. I'm sure we're going to run into that eventually.
Yes.
One last thing I want to talk about, the termination option. This is new. It was a change to the contract just this year, just this January. This verbiage was added into it because a lot of realtors would like to stretch out the option period as far as they could.
Right.
Yes, they would.
So it happens. But we kind of cleaned that up a little bit. And now it says in paragraph 23, which deals with the termination option or option period, it says notices under this paragraph must be given by 5 p.m. local time where the property is located by the specific date. So if you pay for a 10-day option period, on that 10th day at 5 p.m., not 11:59 p.m., not if it falls on a federal holiday, not if whatever.
That's right.
I was about to say something stupid, but it's very definite. It's defined now when the option period ends, when it terminates. So no more of this crazy stuff that we've been seeing in the past.
Right.
So there you go with option period.
Great change.
Let me ask you a question, Patrick.
Yes,
So when is the option period turned on? When does that clock start to tick?
You have an execution date. So execution date happens when the last person has agreed to the terms written in the offer. When the last person signs, either the seller or the buyer, whoever signs last, that broker will execute the contract.
Okay.
The clock starts ticking then.
Okay.
Okay. So next, we want to talk about full price offer.
Oh, that sounds good.
Full price offer. Seems simple,
It
right?
does sound good.
Yeah, it sounds real. Is that not simple?
It does sound simple.
Well, it should be.
Oh,
Should-
okay,
it should
okay.
be.
It should be, huh?
All
Okay.
right. So let's listen to this scenario from TexasRealtors.com. And this is a great website. There's a portion for consumers and there's a portion for realtors. So you can go there and get a lot of information as well. So listen to this scenario. My seller's property was listed for $150,000. Let me back up. My seller's property was listed in the MLS. That's huge.
Okay. In the
It was
MLS.
listed in the MLS for $150,000. My buyer made a full price offer, but my client decided not to sell. Now the buyer's broker says that my client has to accept the full price offer. Is she correct?
I would say no.
No. She does not.
No, she don't.
No.
Does not.
Mm-mm. She's
Huh.
she's the principal. She runs the ship.
Yeah.
If she don't want to
Oh.
accept that offer, she don't have to.
Really?
That's right.
But I know everybody feels the butt coming, right?
What's the
Yeah,
butt?
wait. You
Can-
wait
can we
on
get
the
the
butt.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
All right. So the short answer is no.
Right.
No seller has to accept any offer.
That's
full
right.
price, above full price, below full price. They don't have to accept.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's where things get a little twisted.
Oh, here we go.
A seller is not bound to accept any offer, even at full price. However, the seller is now in breach of the listing agreement.
Of the listing agreement.
Of the listing
Oh.
agreement. By refusing to accept the full price offer.
Right.
They signed a contract with the listing agent
Mm-hmm.
that said we were going to list it at this price for this
Mhm.
length of time. This is what I'll accept.
Right.
That listing agent turned around when it put that property in the MLS and relayed the same thing that I just said.
Mm-hmm.
My seller wants to sell their house for $150,000. Any agent out there that brings a buyer
Right.
for full price, we will pay a commission on that $150,000.
Right.
So what just happened was that though the seller decided to not accept the offer, that buyer's agent, he just earned his commission. He did what you asked him to do.
Right.
Exactly.
So that commission is earned. It's payable.
So now the seller needs to go ahead
and write that check.
Write that check.
I mean, that would be the way that he could walk away from the whole deal completely. He or she,
without being taken to court.
Without being taken to court. Yes, it's taking care of the agreed upon contract. But a lot of times, I know Patrick and Ken, I know you guys have talked to your seller, and I'm sure there'll be a better discussion on what is the purpose and why. But we all run into those people that maybe have a certain issue. I don't know what other word to use, but you know, we're going to run into those. But it's good to know how they can walk away legally without having to go to court or anything like that.
Right.
All right. So, you know, you really have to have a made-up mind when you decide to put your house on the market for sale. There are realtors out here that are really doing their job, finding you buyers that want to buy your home.
That's right.
And reneging at the last minute.
Not good.
You know, that's not good. That's bad.
Bad business.
Bad business. You know. And plus, now I've had this happen, and you've had this happen too, Ken, recently. What was it? Almost a year ago now. I remember this, and of course, we're not going to call any names.
Right.
But you had a buyer. Everything was good to go. They show up to closing with their U-Haul, ready to sign,
right,
ready to get the keys,
yes,
ready to move in, and the buyer changed their mind.
Right.
The seller changed their mind.
The seller changed their mind.
At closing.
Oh,
At closing.
What happened? Tell me this story.
So
it sounds like a
have
very
to finish
familiar
this
story.
Because this one got really it got really bad.
Yeah, that's something we have to talk about off air.
Oh, okay.
But essentially, we had Ken's clients that were homeless for a few days until we got everything worked out. They had nowhere to go.
But see, the difference is they had Ken.
Yeah, they had
Ken was going to take care of them, whether it be his house or a hotel or something. He's going to take care of them. I know that.
As we joke, I'm going to tell you that is truly my heart.
I know your heart.
That's the heart of Blessed Properties.
Amen.
Is to take care of the people.
I think that's why Patrick got into business.
Yeah. There's a story behind that too.
I know. I've heard it.
We've talked about that.
Right.
But hey, I hope everybody has been enlightened and have some insight into the real estate home buying process and these few terms that we covered. And again, this Saturday morning at 9:30, first time home buyer seminar. It's absolutely free. Come out, get this great information, and again, we're going to square you away with resources up to $7,500, or how to get those resources up to $7,500 for down payment assistance, closing cost assistance, repair assistance, all that good stuff. So that's this Saturday morning. Blessed Properties is hosting a free first-time home buyer seminar. And you really don't have to be a first-time home buyer. If you bought a house 5, 6, 7 years ago, you're more than welcome to attend. Okay, so we hope to see you there. The address is 2210 East Central Texas Expressway, Suite 101. That's the Landmark Building. 254-833-9639 if you need more directions. Some announcements real quick before we go off. KRGN, our very own KRGN 98.5 is having its anniversary this May 21st. We're going to have barbecue in the park, Long Branch Park, barbecue, music, entertainment, kiddie bouncers, and a whole lot more. So come,
sounds like my kind of party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So come out, bring your kids, bring your animals, and everybody come out, have a good time, and celebrate with KRGN, my family here at KRGN. Yes, sir. Yep. So we talked about that. Hey, this Sunday, what's this Sunday?
It's Easter, baby.
Easter.
Come on.
Resurrection Sunday.
Yes,
Amen.
it is.
Hey, everybody, reach one. Everybody, bring one.
That's right.
That's right.
All right. Hey, we got to go. We're over our time here. Just want to say God bless and thank you guys for being with us today.
Thank you.